Welcome to Squirrel, the podcast for distracted writers, hosted by Candace J. Thomas and Jodi L. Milner. Hey everybody, welcome to Squirrel. This is Jodi.
And this is Candace.
And this is episode 50, which is the official end of our first season. I can't believe we have gotten to this point.
I don't either. Isn't it strange?
It's really bizarre that we've been at this for a year now, essentially.
Yeah.
Through thick and thin, through all sorts of random that have happened.
It's been good.
I think this is a perfect time for us to celebrate some of the memories, some of our favorite little tidbits, and do a clip show.
Like they did in like Family Ties,
Absolutely.
Or Growing Pains, where they don't really want to do a full episode that's just like, oh, the memories.
So they'll take all the Urkel moments, or they'll take all of the...
Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do here.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be great.
Alrighty, so we have each chosen two of our favorites, only because we don't want this to go on forever and ever and ever. And we can
because we have so many favorites.
There were a lot of favorites.
You should just listen to all 50 of our, and then you'll find our favorites.
Okay, so I'm going to set up the first one, because the first one's my pick, and I'm choosing episode 13. And it is our Scary Stories Around the Campfire episode.
Oh, that was mine.
And that was Candy's episode. I'm choosing it because this is the one episode that I think I freaked her out. Because we were talking about scary stories, and I was sharing some of mine, and I started...
I do remember being creeped out. Was it the pimple story? No,
the pimple story was gross. But poltergeist is what really got you.
I do not like poltergeist.
Anyway.
I was creeped out. Yeah, you're right. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I want to hear it.
All right, but you're going to relive it again, all right?
Sounds good.
The ones that I loved as a kid were not necessarily the really scary ones. I like the jump scare ones because that's the cheap scare. It's so much easier. And so there's the whole story about Who's Got My Toe. Do you know Who's Got My Toe?
No.
Okay, so the whole telling of it is like this guy's going about his day and he's hearing this voice in the distance. Who's got my toe? And as he goes through his day, it gets closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. Mm-hmm. And as you're telling this, you're trying to make it as interactive as possible because you're telling it generally to a younger child. Yes. And then you're like, and he was right next to him. And then you reach out and you grab the person's foot that's next to you and you say, I've got it. And you scream into you practically scream in their face, I've got your toe. And that's the jump scare because you've built it up and you've built it up and built it up. And then out of nowhere, you just grab them and you yell, I've got your toe. Much. I mean, it's a dumb story.
Do you know the pimple story?
Oh, the one with the spiders inside it.
Well, you just ruined it.
I'm so sorry. Yes. Let's back up. Tell me the pimple story.
I can't believe you just ruined my story. No, about the girl who had a pimple on her face and she tried to get rid of it. And it was she tried everything.
It was big.
It's just got big and big until you went to the doctor and opened it up and there's just a bunch of spiders.
Well, in my version, she was in the bathtub.
Oh,
and she was soaking it and it finally burst. And she's, very, very vulnerable at that point. And there's these thousands.
Because you put them in the bathtub. Yeah.
Duh. Writers get to choose these things. And all these really nasty spiders are flying. And, yeah. There's your trifecta of perfect scare moment. You've got spiders. You've got someone who's very vulnerable.
Well, and it's something that you can tell teenagers because they do have pimples.
They do,
and they are insecure about them. And what if there was a spider that actually lived them? I love it. Oh, there was also urban legend here. I say urban legend, but there is a couple things here just local that I did when I was a teenager, and the one was called the sidewalks. Do you know anything about the sidewalks?
Only what you've told me.
Okay. So over on the east side of our valley, there is said to have these sidewalks. And the story is this guy murdered his wife, chopped her up into lots of pieces, and then buried parts of her body at the end of where the sidewalks end. And so as a teenager, me and my friends went up on the east side. There isn't a direction to where the sidewalks is. You just kind of have to find it. And you go there, and there's a lot of brambles, and hedges and stuff. So when you find the sidewalks, there's houses all around it, but we were there, and it's this rambling sidewalk that just ends at different places. So you follow it, and then it ends, and it was like super, super creepy. And you go at night, of course,
clearly.
But I loved that. Yeah, I've actually been to the sidewalks. I probably could drive there, honestly.
Field trip.
It was totally scary.
Okay, so there was one movie that scared me beyond any other movie when I watched it as a kid. I probably watched it too young because I had an older sibling who watched movies that we both probably shouldn't have been watching. And that was the original Poltergeist.
Oh my goodness.
The original Poltergeist scared me to death.
Me too. And I wasn't supposed to watch it. I was really young. My parents had rented it, and they were watching it, and I had snuck on the side of where the living room is and watched a little bit.
Stinker. I was probably being babysat at the time because that's when we watched all of them.
Tell me what terrified you most about the Poltergeist.
Oh gosh, everything. I'm sorry. Like the tree that ate people.
The tree that ate people.
That freaked me out.
I could not have a room near a tree for years.
Being sucked under your bed.
Like with the
like there was
the clown.
There was the clown. I swear there was a point where the kid got sucked under the bed into the void. It could have been sucked into the closet, but there was a whole thing with like the portal in the closet.
Yeah. Okay.
And then in Poltergeist 2, it was the puddles in the garages.
I never made it to that.
You never made it to 2? I was a teenager by the time I made it to 2 because the trauma had finally worn off.
You're a teenager, and you try to.
But like in number 2, I think there's reflective surfaces ended up being portals, and so these supernatural whatever they were, like the poltergeists. Could snag you through the mirrors and through the puddles in the parking garages. And so they do have a scene where someone's walking along and they fall through a puddle in the parking garage and disappear forever. I haven't stepped in a puddle in a parking garage in a very long time, especially the ones that have oil on the top so you can't tell how deep they are. Yeah, creepy. I can watch it now, and I'm like, okay, I can see why it scared me, and I can see it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it terrified me for a long time.
I'm still scared, and I'm scared at this moment. You mentioned that, and I'm having a little,
and here I am doing it again
because of that. All right, for my clip, I went to episode 32, which was writing kissing scenes.
Oh, we were so dorky on that one. It was awkward.
You turned into like this. You was so uncomfortable with this episode, and I was loving it. And I picked like a part where we talk about the kisses, and we're going and explaining exactly what a kiss is versus a peck, and we had a little bit of an argument there. So I thought it was so funny and awkward. I had to add it to this show. It was
delightfully awkward. Well, and I wasn't the only one that was getting a little not squeamish, but weirded out maybe. I don't know. I think we both had our fair share of uncomfortable during that episode.
Yeah, it's true. Though I did not pick any that I was uncomfortable with. It's just all you.
Well, it was my episode.
Yep. That's what I picked. It's going to be. It's really
all
funny.
Right, here it goes.
Well, here's a funny thing, because you have in the notes peck on the lips. I don't know what a peck is. I mean, a peck is like just gentle touching, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the same as what you would do on a cheek. It's just on the lips.
Okay. It's not planting one on somebody.
No, it would be quick. It would be in out. Like you need to show affection in public, but you don't want it to be gross.
Okay. Peck for me, yeah, that's an invitation. So
for more. I
it's like a passing shot. Like, you're already in a committed relationship. You want to show you love each other. One person's got like their hands in the sink and they're washing dishes, and you lean back and you give a little peck, and it's cute.
Yeah, and that's true. And I'm glad that you bring it up. But in a novel, I don't want to read a peck. I don't want to get there.
No.
That doesn't exist in a novel.
I'm sure it exists.
Why would anybody want to?
It's cute. You're not going to write a paragraph about it. You're going to have a sentence like they have, drive-by kissing.
I don't even know. Drive-by kissing. I guess so.
I think it would be cute
because then we have open mouth. But I think that there needs to be that plant. That
we did not include plant on the list.
Yeah, plant on the list.
I did not have the vocabulary for that one.
It's just the full frontal impact, that you both reciprocate. You're like this one, and
so would you define that like the chaste wedding kiss would be a plant? Because that one can border into open mouth depending on the couple.
Yeah, I guess yes. I would say yes, because it doesn't move into open mouth until it does.
As do
if
most
it's a really
things.
good kiss, everyone should see my hands here making these gestures.
She's just bumping her fists, so don't get any ideas.
It's planting that moment, I guess. I don't know. So.
It's more solid. It's definitely a connection. It's happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so open mouth.
Open mouth. That's a serious show of affection. Like, you're in a committed relationship if that is the exchange. Clearly, you both have to have trust. You both have to be available emotionally for that moment. Like, it's not something that you can just casually be like, meow, and kiss, and meow. Like an open mouth kiss, you're going to take a moment to spend that time. And
with your characters as well.
Both
of them, even if you're coming from one perspective.
That deserves a whole 3 sentences.
Right. Really, I hope so.
Or a paragraph.
Because that's an acceptance of both partners there when you get that little, I don't know, slip of the tongue or touch of the teeth or whatever.
Oh, I hate it when the teeth touch.
Right. Nobody wants to read that, guys.
Yeah,
just know that. Nobody wants to read that. And then I mean, obviously you go
things
something
just
else.
escalate from there. Like, I think it's safe to say if you've gone into open mouth kissing, and this is going to depend on the author, the genre, and the heat level of the book, it might continue forward into more. It might continue to a closed door. It might continue to a fade to black. It might continue to a full out encounter between the two people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, an invitation.
Yeah.
The beginning of something.
And we're not writing sex scenes here, everyone. So we're just starting with kiss.
We're not doing that episode. I don't think
wouldn't even
Candy
know
could
what to
handle
say.
it.
No. I know that is not in my wheelhouse. I don't know how to
guess.
I don't have a skill set for that. I'm sorry. I know it's maybe that's a little too intimate for me. I think reading I'm done. Sorry,
we just
I'm too
hit
blushy.
Candace's comfort level right there.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. The next episode is episode 12. And we were talking all about superstitions.
12. This is back in October?
Yeah, this was back in October.
Okay.
And we were talking about, do writers have superstitions? And part of the discussion was about weird superstitions of famous writers. And we found some doozies.
Oh, that's right.
And they were really funny.
Yeah, I do remember that. That's
so
I don't remember any of them specifically now, so this will be kind of fun.
Okay, here it goes. We have discussed these common superstitions in the writing world, or not so common as we've now discovered, but we have found specific authors that have some kind of bizarre superstitions that we're just going to list through because I thought these were delightful and kind of weird. So the first one is Dr. Seuss. So Dr. Seuss would wear a hat whenever he experienced writer's block, and he had 300 hats that he would choose from.
Awesome.
So whenever he felt he couldn't write, he would change his hat. Can you kind of imagine him doing this?
Well, I mean, the Cat in the Hat, maybe that's why his hat was so big.
It could
because
be.
of all the writer's block hat that
it might have been. But I thought that one was completely delightful.
That's really cute. I found Ernest Hemingway liked to write standing up, balancing his typewriter on a high chest. So I guess at that time,
he had the original standing desk.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of like to do that as well. So
a man ahead of his time.
You know, it says he believed it helped him stay focused and alert. So
I wonder if it's because he was also drinking when he was writing,
and he was afraid
that would help. Interesting. Okay, Joaquin Miller had sprinklers installed over his house, and he would turn them on before he began to write because he claimed he couldn't compose his poetry without the sound of rain hitting his roof.
That's going to be easily solved by going on YouTube now.
I know, right? We have sound machines for that. You can listen to Fantasy Tavern ambiance.
Oh my gosh, that seems like extremely extraneous to put sprinklers over your house.
A little extra.
Jeez, that's really cute. I found Agatha Christie reportedly liked to wash her dishes before beginning to write. Now, this makes sense to me because that way you don't have anything kind of blocking the path. Because, you know, I love being distracted by laundry that is waiting for me instead of writing, right?
I hate laundry.
So that's why I think, just kind of cleared her mind.
Although I do find repetitive motion chores like help my creative brain turn on.
Okay, yeah.
So I can see how that could be almost a nice little gateway into getting ready to dive back into your story again.
Yeah.
Here's the most unique one I found. That's just so out there. But Friedrich Schiller claimed he was unable to write without being able to smell rotten apples. And so he would put apples in his desk drawer and leave them there to rot.
No.
And when he needed special inspiration, he would open the drawer and take a whiff.
I need to...
I'm like, whatever happened to scented candles? Like,
I don't even know what to say about this one.
Rotten apples. And they do have a very, very distinct smell.
I mean, I don't know. So if I left an apple around and I could just say, no, don't worry, it's just my smelling apple.
My inspiration apple, as it were. My junior high math teacher, who was a delightful lady that I loved to death, she actually hung an apple from the ceiling at the beginning of the year, and it was a fresh, bright, shiny red, perfect apple. And below it, it said, "Is this you?" And then she left it the entire year as it started to rot and shrivel.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what point are we making here? I'm confused. And my literal brain was like, are you saying we too shall die? Because that feels
rotten.
like that's where we were going with that message. And I'm like, we're in junior high, lady. Calm down.
Yeah, you guys were all so happy
We
at the
were all
beginning of
rotten
junior high,
apples.
and now you see what you've done to me. This is what you've done
Clearly.
to me.
Math turns you into a rotten apple.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
All right. The last one I have, and I feel that this was probably our very best episode that we did the entire season, was the spirits for the teetotaler episode, because Jodi was so knowledgeable about her spirits, and I absolutely am a newbie. I know nothing about drinking. So I picked a funny selection where we talked about the presidential eggnog and we get into the first sniffs. So if you remember, we had all these different drinks out on our desk, and I was smelling and while you were telling me the nose of everything. It was quite funny. I think
it was great.
Do you not think that was one of our best?
It was really fun to do because it was something that...
Because Jodi just got to drink a little bit here and there and tell me all about about
It's a
something that she
fascinating-
knew specifically about that I knew nothing. And so that I think that was a joy to
For me
teach
to
me.
lord things over you.
It was just, you
It
know,
happens so rarely.
there's a lot that I don't know, but that was really, it was educational for me, really entertaining, and I learned a lot from that episode. So,
And it was a healthy amount of silly. Anyway, here's that clip.
One year I did glog. I made glog for everybody, but it wasn't like alcoholic. I did something else. But
So
I
you
did.
made boring glog.
Well, I have boring family.
We
so
made the real presidential eggnog last year. That stuff was
What?
rocket fuel.
which president declared this the presidential
Jefferson.
eggnog? Jefferson.
The recipe's really cool too. It's like a half gallon of heavy cream and then cognac, and it has like a full pint of liquors in it. It is rocket fuel. So you know you're drinking something special when and it has all
It's
the warming
presidential.
spicy. It has warming spices too. So
Do you have to make that? You can't find it in the liquor store.
Uh,
Presidential.
it probably wouldn't be called that. There, you can get mixed drinks at liquor stores that are kind of like that, though.
Okay.
So
Cool.
you should go and explore one. They're fun.
Go to a liquor store?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sure. I would not even know what to look at. I mean,
Grocery store for booze.
I understand what a liquor store is, but you're telling me that I'm looking at bottles that don't mean anything to me.
We're gonna change that. We're working on it.
Okay. All right.
You're gonna get slightly more educated.
Okay. So, let's go. We talked about that one. Common tropes. Wait, well, let's not go there yet. I want to hear more about the aromatic drinks that are in front of me, actually, before we get into the writing part of this.
I have brought 5 different varieties of alcoholic beverages. I have a vodka, I have a mead, I have a whiskey, I have a Pilsner, which is a type of beer, and I have a red wine. I have specifically a Cabernet Sauvignon. I like saying it because it makes me sound fancy and French.
Yes.
But if you're going to order it, sometimes you just say a cab.
That's dumb. Would the French get mad at you for that?
Do the French care?
Yes.
Fine.
They do.
All right, so this is for analytical purposes only, educational purposes only. We are not supporting underage drinking irresponsibly, or any of those things. With that legal statement out of the way, here we go.
I mean, honestly, I pitched this because it's writing that I'm using this for. Not
All right,
really
so
for
Candy's
drinking.
going to take a sniff of our Cabernet Sauvignon. So this is a very, very red drink. It's berry, berry red. It's
Berry?
very, berry red.
Okay.
So one of the things you might be able to smell is a hint of oak. You might be able to
Okay.
smell almost a meatiness to it, like a blood
Yeah.
quality to it.
Like it smells like a bad steak.
There you go. So that's a lot of times people will associate red wines with a bloodiness.
Okay. All right.
Red wines have a lot of tannins in them.
That why vampires like red wine?
I think
Or
it makes a lot of sense.
they make their own red wine, I guess. Ugh. Sorry.
So if you're not used to it, the alcohol will hit you a little bit, and that might be the only thing you smell.
So do I have to smell something else to clear my nose palate?
So I did buy kind of a cheap one. So this one doesn't have really nice notes of anything else. Sometimes you'll get notes of cherry or notes of cedar. Like sometimes you get a note of a mineraliness. This one's a little bit tannin heavy. Like I'm not a sommelier either, and I haven't drunk a ton of different reds. So like I could pick out that this is a red wine, but like if I was blindfolded, that was all I'd be able to tell you.
Okay, so basically a nymph in the woods with bloody stakes. There we go.
Okay, that
I
works
get
for
it.
me.
All right,
Now
and what was that one? That was just a red
So
wine,
that is
right?
a red wine, and the type is a Cabernet Sauvignon, and that's the name of the grape they used. So if you're looking at wines and they have all these different names, that's the type of grape they're using.
So I don't know about you, but I've had an amazing time walking down memory lane and just revisiting some of these favorite moments.
These are really funny. I love our season. I think I came up with a lot of really great episodes, really great topics, and talked a lot and learned a lot about writing and doing this podcast. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, let's do another season.
Like I didn't imagine it going this far. Like
you thought it would crash and burn?
I don't know what was going to happen. It was brand new territory, but I think it's been delightful.
It's been a lot of fun. So let's keep going.
Alrighty. Well, we are not going to reveal any spoilers about next season, so I'm not going to introduce any episodes this week. Yeah. You're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yes. Our next season is probably going to be in about 2 weeks. So
we're going to take a teeny tiny break because it is
a little
summer
vacation, but we should be back on the 15th of July, and hopefully we will hear you then.
If you laughed out loud during this episode, you owe us money. No, kidding. We have a Patreon. We have a Buy Us a Coffee. Your support is much appreciated. And also remember, like, subscribe, and share.
Yay.
Because sharing is caring.
Yes. And yeah, I can't be more excited about our listeners. So I'm glad you guys have stayed with us. So can't wait.
All right. Until next year. Next season.
Until next season, everyone.
And it's been fun.
The end.
The end.
Thank you for listening to the Squirrel Podcast for the Distracted Writer with Candace J. Thomas and Jodi L. Milner. Please like and subscribe to our podcast for updates and new episodes, and find more information at our website, squirrelpodcast.com. Stay distracted, everyone. Why does your shirt say hyperboil?
Do I need to pull it straight so you can read it?
The most amazing thing ever.
Hyperbole.
Hyperboil.
Hyperbole. Have you never seen this word written aloud? Written out.